is what it is. I have taken the requisite thingies that tell you what you have, and it is nothing that is anything as far as I know. But it is. I have. I was supposed to go to an event today, and I didn't go to that because partially because I'm not feeling too good, and partially because there has been other people in my vicinity, the whole sort of contact situation and everything. So it's been one of those weeks. Hello. So I've been into contact with certain, but I'm not. But everybody's falling like flies. So this is cheerful. We won't talk about the thing and the issue, but I might have lost my voice by the end of this, so it's going to be a little bit shorter than normal, probably. As you can see, lovely wallpaper. I've got a slightly different angle to usual. Usually I try to avoid the wallpaper. Let's just put that wallpaper in there. Let you know my actual, where I am. Creepy nursery place with, like, ghostly, yeah, as always. Oh, I sound like John Hurt. Yes, I'm the war doctor. Yeah, so that's something, isn't it? Yes, I'm transformed into John Hurt. Hopefully I won't have any stomach incidents as a la Alien. But you never know. You never know with these things, do you? So, I met John Hurt once. Did I ever tell you the story? It's when I think he was in the Alan Clark Diaries on BBC 4, possibly BBC 4, I don't know. And there was a screening, and he was sat behind me, and he was going all the way through it, and he seemed very slightly very drunk. And then I heard that somebody said, oh no, John Hurt is teetotal. And I thought, well, that's very odd, because he seemed very much under the influence when I saw him. But everyone was like, no, he doesn't drink. But it turns out that's a lie. He did, and he definitely did. So I don't want to cast aspersions on John Hurt. He seems like a nice man, but he was very all the way through it, laughing his head off at his performance as Alan Clark. Was it Alan Clark? Not Alan Clark. I'm saying Alan Clark. It was a different one. Which one was it? The other one. The one that did the diaries. I can't remember now. Alan Clark's a completely different person. Oh, no, it isn't. Is it Alan Clark? Am I getting confused with Kenneth Clark? Anyway, it was John Hurt. It was very definitely John Hurt. Oh my goodness. Yes, I am going to lose my... Especially if I keep doing that voice. I am definitely going to lose my voice. But yes, it's been a week. An interesting week. And I'm just like, fatalistically going, well, it doesn't matter, does it? What the... It's just like, it's inevitable. As inevitable as taxes and the other thing, the big D. Yes, so we'll... So we just keep plodding on doing it. Anyway... Yeah, I got an online shopping today, and only a few things were substituted or missing. Everybody's going to go, oh, it's doom and gloom, everything's gone. It's like, well, it depends what you get. If you shop around, to be honest, I had to get rid of a lot of things in the basket because I checked it, and they weren't there, and I was like, oh, well, I won't have that then. John Hurt. It's very bad. I didn't realise, because I've been, like, not talking. I didn't realise. It's like the kick end of it. I've had it all week, so it's probably going to go, dude. There's too much stuff, exactly. There's too much stuff. We don't need all this stuff, do we? But everybody's, like, fighting over petrol in the forecourts and going, But apparently, there is no petrol shortage, which is funny, because everybody I know says, I couldn't get it anywhere. But maybe that's because everybody panicked. And that's what happens when everybody panics. So it's been a week. It's been a week and a half. So, yeah, hooray! Halloween coming up. Ooh, I thought I saw a ghostly shape in the background. I hallucinated a ghost then. Maybe I just had some Beecham's powders cold medicine, so maybe they're not particularly hallucinating ghosts. Yes, not at the petrol stations. Exactly, Philip. We've got loads of it. It's mostly in the back of people's cars. They've stacked it up very unwisely in jugs, like moonshine jugs. Good evening, Terry. Moonshine jugs. So it's like the Dukes of Hazzard out there. Like, we're going to moonshine, do the moonshine. What did the Dukes of Hazzard? I used to watch it and not understand what was going on. I think they used to, and go, yeehaw, and just sort of fly out of the back of their was it called General Lee? That's a very racist car, isn't it? Yes, General Lee. And Daisy Duke had short shorts, and there were two cousins that had a very close relationship, the two boy cousins, and I think Daisy Duke was another cousin. They were cousins, weren't they? They weren't brothers. There's something very interesting about the Dukes of Hazzard, the Duke cousins' relationship, and Boss Hogg, that was one of the things, isn't it? Why am I talking about the Dukes of Hazzard? Oh yeah, moonshine. Yeah, moonshine with petrol in the back of the General Lee going across county lines. Did they change the lead actors in the last series? Because I very vaguely remember the Dukes. Dukes of Hazzard was one of those things I think my brother used to watch, and it was on, but I didn't consciously watch it. It was like, because it was back in the day when we only had one television, and you have to watch the same thing as a family member was watching. Not like these days where you all on different devices and you can watch whatever you want from a world of possibilities. It's like the Dukes of Hazzard is on. My brother liked Dukes of Hazzard. We had to watch the Dukes of Hazzard. Did I like the Dukes of Hazzard? No, but I've probably seen it in the background going, oh, is it over yet? Is it over yet? Can I watch John Hurt on the television with aliens? No, I never said that. That would have been terrible and silly when I was a small child. That never happened. Although I do vaguely remember, what's the flashbacks? I remember everybody in my parents' house gathering in my parents' house because Jesus Christ Superstar was on the television, and for some reason everyone was very excited about that. They all came around to watch Jesus Christ Superstar in my parents' house. My whole family, like extended cousins and uncles and aunties. Who knows why? And I remember somebody making a cup of coffee that had... The cup of coffee had a film of, like, when the cup of coffee with the milk, I don't like milk, and this is one of the reasons I don't like milk, it had a film on the top of it, like a skin. It was custard, it was like custard, only coffee, and I remember being given, I was a small child, but it may have been the first time I ever had coffee, and it had skin on it, and it was fairly disgusting, and that's what I remember about Jesus Christ Superstar, and I don't know why I'm remembering that now. I don't know why I'm remembering that now. What purpose memory serves when it's that random? Just all coming back to me. It's like my life's flashing before my eyes. That's probably not a good sign, is it? Maybe I'm regenerating into Christopher Eccleston. No, I didn't regenerate into Christopher Eccleston. No, first of all. Yes, no, yes. That is what happened. Yes, because first of all, it was... the other Doctor, yes, that is what happened. He regenerated into Christopher Eccleston. I had it in the right order all along. That's what happened. The A-Team, yeah, that's another one that we used to show. That used to be on. That was also one of my brother's favourite films. Shows he used to, elite group of... It's like that's on in the background. This is it. It's on the television. I consciously did not pay attention to it. All I know is... I ain't getting on that damn plane. And also that one that had Cowboy George on it. I remember that one, Boy George, as they thought he was Cowboy George, and they made him go, they drove him around. I don't know why. I thought they were like elite, like vigilante people that did stuff that were like, I don't even know what they did. They had a van, there was Murdoch, and the face, and... the other one, and B.A. Baracus, who was played by Mr. T. I know that, and I know that they had Cowboy George. That's what I know about the A-Team, and that they were on the run for a crime they didn't commit or something. That's mostly what a lot of them were. That's the same as the what's that one with the one-armed man? The Richard Kimball. That's from like 50s or something, isn't it? I never watched that either. He was a neck of gold chain. Yes, he did wear a lot of gold, did Mr. T. Yes, that's thing, very much like the Hazard brothers relationship. I'm just doing slash fiction with them now. I'm just like, that's what probably was happening. Murdoch and Mr. T were, very close friends with each other, weren't they? Yeah, and they relied on each other for everything. Hello, Ed Edits. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to just do. So that's probably what I should have done when I was younger, and that probably would have a world more enjoyment. More enjoyment than ever. Actually, even when I was a small child, I used to do that in my head when I was very bored. I remember doing that with the Rocky Horror Picture Show and recasting the whole the cast of Cheers in the Rocky Horror Picture Show in my mind as I was trying to go to sleep. That's what I used to do to go to sleep. Thinking back again, my life flashing before my eyes. My life was what I used to do when I was a child. Is I used to imagine TV shows and recast people and do stuff and ship people from different shows with each other. I actually did. Now I think it's all coming back to me. It's like, oh, I did do that, didn't I? That's how I used to get to sleep. It's like, oh yes, Dr. Fraser Crane as Frankenfurter. Oh, it could have been now. Yes, that's small child. I did do that, actually, thinking about it. I was probably quite an odd child, retrospectively. A bit like the Magnificent Seven, the A-Team, were they? Oh, that's another thing I haven't seen. That's like Seven Samurai, and the Magnificent Seven is based on the Seven Samurai. Of this I know, this much I know, and I think they did another remake fairly recently, didn't they? But I don't think I've seen either of them. I consciously, it's like these are things, pop culture references that float into my view. I go, I know that. I know what that is. Do I know that in depth? No. No, I don't. Just enough to go, I know what that is. I'll make a reference to it that probably makes no sense because that's not what happened in the show and that's nothing to do with the film. And that's completely, like, I remember, this is a very stream of consciousness, but you have to understand that I've just had cold medicine and I've got a cold. So this is probably why this. And just in the early days of internet, before internet, there was a Movie Mania. Was that what it was called? You used to be able to get a disc in about 1999 that had all the films on it. Like, it was like a film guide. I mean, we used to get like a film guide, a physical film guide. So every year, or a couple of years, we get a guide and it tell you all the films that happened, all the films of all time, the big important ones. And then it would be updated to include the recent films. We had those for a few years, the Halliwells, I think they were called. And then they had, is it called Movie Mania? I don't know what it was. It was like, it's like Encarta. That was the Wikipedia of its day, but you got it on a disc. And it had all the detail. It was magical. Oh, old-fashioned technology. But I think it was Movie Mania. It might have been something else. You could get a disc every year for about 3 years, and then the internet took over, so we didn't get them. But I used to get the discs, and they were really good. Every year they'd update it, and they'd have little movie clips and stuff, and bits of music from different things. So that's how I heard Sisters of Mercy. From not Sisters of Mercy, the pop group, they're more sort of goth rock group. No, the Leonard Cohen Sisters of Mercy, from the something and Miss McCabe. Don't know what that's from, but it's from a film. And Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. That was also, I know that's from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. So they would have like theme tunes to things, but they wouldn't have the whole thing. Like you can go to Spotify or whatever and listen to the whole YouTube, listen to the whole song now. But you could just listen to a fragment. And, back in my day, we only had DVDs for entertainment. DVD-ROMs. Back in the day. Well, in the internet did exist, we just didn't really use it because we had, why would you need the internet when you've got a DVD disc and it had clips and films and all sorts of things, little trailers that were that tiny trailers because you couldn't get that much. You think, so much, hello, I'm just reminiscing about the olden days when you got a whole encyclopedia and a disc. Back in the day. I like that. I think, I don't know whether that because they were like compatible with whatever the Windows was back then, Windows 0 or something. It's Windows 95. It probably was Windows 95 because 95 lasted until about 2000, and then 2000 didn't really last very long. Anyway, it was the Windows. You remember the Windows? Maybe it was MS-DOS. Do you remember MS-DOS? That's right. That's right. It was before the Windows even existed. The MS of the DOS. Oh, good times. Maybe I'll turn this into a channel where I reminisce about old technology that there is no more. Oh, do you remember Monkey Island? Oh, Monkey Island. All those LucasArts games. Encarta first came out and Windows 3.1 did it. So that was slightly after MS-DOS. I'd forgotten what the Windows was before 95. Windows. But wasn't talking about Encarta though. I was talking about, I think it was called Movie Mania. I might be wrong, but it was a specific movie one that sort of replaced. It's like, oh, we don't get the big fat Halliwells anymore. We'll get Movie Mania. We got it for about 2-3 years running, and then didn't really have it after that. I don't think they stopped making it, but it was like, that's the future. We're living in the future. You can get the whole of a book on a disc that big. If a disc that big, you can get a tiny little microchip. You can get millions of books on a tiny microchip now, but no, disc that big. Oh, and Clive Sinclair, that happened recently, and I didn't mark the occasion. Oh, I remember what was it? Yeah, I had a Spectrum. Not on the Spectrum. I had a Spectrum. Maybe on the Spectrum. I don't really know. I haven't been diagnosed with any. But I had a Spectrum, and it had this thing that you put on the back because they changed it from having 16K to 48K, but they were still selling the 16Ks, and they were selling them with big fat packs that you put on the back of it, like jam them in to make them into 48K, upgrading it. And we got a tape. That's how they did. Oh, young people today don't know they're born. We had tapes. You stuck this tape into an actual, there was a tape player that you plugged in, and you plugged the keyboard into just not even a monitor, just a television, and plugged the tape player in, and it would go and then you'd wait for about 20 minutes, and you get little jumpy pixels on the screen, and you go, ooh, yeah, exactly 5 minutes. That's exactly how it sounded. And then you would play the games, wouldn't you? Oh, back in the day, this is observational, see, now back in the day, those Spectrums, ooh, so fun. I remember I had really good games. Oh yes, I'm starting to watch the latest Taskmaster. I tried to say after to somebody because I thought after is how I would say it, but I said after to somebody because they needed to spell it, and I thought maybe they wouldn't understand what I was saying because they had it after. So I said it's afternoon, and they spelt it afternoon with an ARF. It's like, no, I meant afternoon, and they're like, why didn't you say it that way? I thought I was speaking like a proper English person with the afternoons rather than afternoon, which is ordinarily said, but maybe I just got confusing. Anyway, what was I saying? Taskmaster, yeah, I watched that. But that's another thing that I watch because somebody else watches it, so I watch it, so I am aware of it. And there was balloons and things in it, wasn't there? Like popping balloons. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, just one of those things where I'm sort of tinged with jealousy if I watch. I've said I don't watch panel shows because they go, oh, I gigged with that person. Oh, I gigged with that person. Well, back in the day, there was a thing called Comedy Soup, BBC Comedy Soup, and you could upload user-generated videos just before or about the same time as the beginning of YouTube. But BBC wanted a slice of the action. They're like, do you want to do... And they had Adam Buxton as the face of it, because Adam Buxton used to do, Take Over TV back in the 90s and stuff. Where he and Adam and Joe... Anyway, they made shows and stuff, and they did, user-generated content, and people could submit it. So he was the face of this Comedy Soup, and you could submit your own stuff. And I thought this is going to be the future. the future. I thought I'm going to get famous from this. So I submitted loads of stuff. I did meet people through there. I met Anna Black through there and everything. But my point being, one of the people that submitted stuff there, it was the same time as YouTube. I'm thinking about it, it was about the same time as YouTube started. It wasn't before. One of the people that submitted there was Morgana Robinson. She did character comedy and she submitted loads of stuff where she'd just stand in front of the screen and she'd do these characters. And I was like, because there was probably only about 50 or 60 people at most that ever submitted stuff there. And I was always a little bit like, oh, she's got featured again, whatever. But I was like, I live in hope, and this is going to be the future. But it never came to anything. They deleted it. They scrubbed the content. It's sort of the bare bones of it. There, you can go, I think, to the BBC site and see that there is something there. I think my profile's probably still there, but all the videos have disappeared. But you can see that Morgana Robinson was one of the people there. So I'm sort of like, no, it was the future, just not the future for me. She got somewhere, but I think it's because she gave she was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar or something like that. She gave a tape of all these things to Russell Brand's manager, and Russell Brand's manager picked her up. And so it's right time. It's not just doing the stuff. It's being in the right place at the right time and being the right sort of person that can get things done. And I've just not ever been that person or in the right situation. Let's put it that way. And maybe she's more talented than me, probably. But essentially we were doing the same thing at the same time, and she whooshed. Now she's on Taskmaster popping balloons, and what am I doing? Doing really ropey John Hurt impressions with my sore throat in this glorious box of delight. So you can see that I've not really moved on from Comedy Soup, whereas she's gone on to glory. She popped a balloon on Taskmaster, and here I am. No balloons to be had, with a decapitated puppet in my hand that I made myself, and the big roll of toilet paper. Oh yes, I've got toilet paper. Are you jealous? Which I can blow my nose with. Special guest. Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen the finished version. I haven't finished seeing the finished version. I haven't started seeing the finished version. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. Oh, did I tell you that Ancestry? I probably said this last week. Ancestry. Moving on. Segue. Ancestry has updated its algorithm to show you different ethnicities. I did say this last week, didn't I? Yeah. So that's fun. I've already gone through that. I can't remember what I've done and what I haven't done anymore. It's all gone. Oh no, I'm coughing now, that's it. I should be the next Doctor Who, yes, because Russell T Davies very specifically said that, you definitely have to have equity, be an equity member and be a proper actor. But you also need an agent, and to be honest, I don't have an agent at the moment because we went through all that, didn't we? The whole agent situation. If I got an agent, and I got an audition, and yes, because they're looking for an unknown. I'm every inch an unknown. Ha ha! I have the personality to be Doctor Who, yes, because I'm John Hurt. I've regenerated into this person. How many doctors can I be? I think that's a controversial issue, isn't it? A controversial issue. That's funny you should say that, because that's come up on Twitter. Various different things. And no, I don't think that's compulsory. And also, we do not know Time Lord anatomy at all, do we? We do not. We do not. And nor do we of other people who live on the earth. So we should not go there. Let's avoid that situation and go somewhere else because it's controversial and I don't want to be cancelled. 2 hearts. I might have 2 hearts. We've already gone into the fact that I think there's a very high possibility that I have more than one set of DNA and more than one set of blood in that I did my one hand. Even recently, I did it again. Ages ago, I did this hand and it was A positive, and this hand it was AB positive, or the other way around. And I did it again. I tried it, and it was like, that was A positive, definitely A positive. And I did it again. It was like, I think it's A positive, but it was AB positive the last time. But it was a little bit uncertain, and it might have been A positive. So I've got different, and also this everywhere. I was going to do a video, but I thought that's probably not suitable to, because you have to put a little thing in your finger to take the sample, and it was just everywhere. It was just like, oh, I've made a massive mess. But this hand, I did the same thing. There's a little thing that you poke, and it was like nothing. Like, I've got no blood in my hand in this side. It was like, no, struggling. So I didn't get enough to actually do it properly. That's why I couldn't really tell. 2 hands with different blood types, exactly. And also, with my ancestry DNA test, there was a few weird things. Like, they were going, I put it on Prometheus, which you can analyse the thing. And it was like, oh, yeah, so you've got, like, too many genes. You've got too many copies of these genes. They're all over the place. So it's possible that I've got 2 hearts as well. It's possible. Maybe I am actually a Time Lord. Who knows? It could be. I know they're fictional characters, but it could be. Or are they? And also, no, talking about DNA, really, I was looking up, and apparently there's something called FOX03, a gene called FOX03. If you've got 2 copies of them, you live for a long time. There's other ones that influence skin. You live for a long time. I'm like, ooh, and it's quite rare. I was like, ooh, have I got that? It turns out you have to have 2, and you can live for a long time. If you've got 1 copy of it, you live for a long time, but not a long time. I've got 1 copy, so I am not immortal. But I might live long, but not as long as I would have done if I had 2 copies. I'm like, But maybe this hand has got 2 copies. Maybe this side has only got 1 copy. Maybe I've got 2 copies on this side. Maybe my other set of genes has got an extra one. Hang in, just a spare one. I can regenerate. I've got the regenerating gene. Who knows? Probably not really a thing. But you never know. You never know. I have got too many genes. I have got too many genes. I cleaned up my room the other day. There was a big pile of, I said about this. There was a big pile of things, and there was many piles, many genes underneath, and a lot of them don't fit anymore. Almost all of them don't fit anymore, because I've gone up and down in weight since I got them. It's like I'm in my middle weight at the moment, but I go up in weight and down in weight because maybe I'm just regenerating into a different person that looks almost the same. Anyway, the point is, youthful. I will be youthful for ages. And also it said that if you wear sunscreen every day, then your skin does not age so much. I do wear sunscreen. I will wear a lot of sunscreen from now on so that I will remain ever 22. It's like, you do not look 22. It's like, no, because I am not 22. But I can pretend to be 22. Yes, Michael Jackson, exactly. Cryogenically freezed Michael Jackson. Shamour. Is that what he said? I never could work out. It's not Shamour, is it? Whatever the word is that he used. Get on it. Boop, boop. I'm not. Definitely not Michael Jackson. I am not. I'm sorry. And I'm not John Hurd. But I could be. So yes, that's what I shall do. I shall be the next Doctor Who. Ha 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 ha. I am, even if I'm not the next Doctor Who, maybe I'll be the Doctor after the next Doctor after the next. Yes. Why not? It could happen. I was on Comedy Soup. It's not like the BBC haven't used me before. I was on BBC Three's Upstage. And I said to them at the time, hey, because we put some videos on that they were, you could they were going to show, and they're like, oh, we need the rights to this. I'm like, but you've already got the rights to it because I put it on Comedy Soup. And they're like, what is Comedy Soup? And I'm like, Comedy Soup, it's the BBC. You're the BBC. You've already got... I had to, because that's the thing on Comedy Soup. You had to sign perpetual rights for these videos over to the BBC forevermore, but they deleted them, so they don't have records of them anymore, but they had perpetual rights to use them. And they were still on them. They, Comedy Soup didn't disappear until... I don't know, 2011 or something, and Upstage was before that. So they had the rights to it, but they didn't know what I was talking about. I was like, Comedy Soup, it's my life. So it's going to be big. I'm on the BBC. Good Lord, the BBC. Anyway, they didn't know what that was. Anyway, maybe, who knows? I'll be the next Morgana Robinson. So, alright, well, I'll see you next week if my voice hasn't gone completely yet.